welcome to another episode of the Bella Grace podcast, where we are helping you transform your life, mind, body, and soul. Whether you are struggling to find balance, using unhealthy behaviors or substances to cope, or you just want to unlock the root cause of what's holding you back from living your best life, Bella Grace Coaching can help you transform your life, mind, body, and soul. And this week, we are doing that by talking about
finding your passion and
purpose.
Purpose.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There is a cat, in case you're watching the video.
In case you're wondering what this creature is, it's not a rat. It is a kitten. And I'm taking him home. I love him.
My cat had kittens, a month ago?
Yeah, it feels like weeks. I think it's time for them to leave.
Yeah, it's time for them to leave the nest. They are definitely at least a month old. Yeah. I think they're 5 weeks old. So they have another week or two before they're ready to fly the coop. And Rosie is chomping at the bit to take them home. Yeah. She's taking 2, and apparently my family is keeping 2.
I love animals, and I used to be a dog person, and I was like, no cats. But then my dog died, and then I got a cat, and it changed my life.
Yeah, once you have a cat, a lot of people are like, oh, I hate cats. I'm not a cat person. Cats will change your mind. No, they're amazing. They're so fun.
They're so, I love them.
They have their own personality.
Yeah, they do. And they're so fun and they're so independent. Mm-hmm. And
Oh, I know. You can just leave your cat, and go on vacation and they give no cares. No. My dog, I have to have someone.
Actually, my cat cares.
Oh, really?
He will be upset because we left. Even if it's just for a day or 2. Yeah, my cat does. He is
wow. Yeah, no, my cats, all of the cats that I've ever had, they give no cares. No cares whatsoever. Care.
Maybe because they're so babied or they just, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that one is very needy. So he's going to fit right in with the rest of your family.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
we call this one Mel. Because when he came out, he was the color of caramel. Oh. He was brown, caramel.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, so he's caramel, but we call him Mel for short.
So he is like this.
Yes. He's two-toned. He's caramel on the top and white on the...
cute. I mean...
And cream on the bottom.
Can you cooperate? Look at how cute he is. Look at
him. He's adorable.
Yes, I'm gonna be taking this one home with me. But anyways,
yeah. So anywho, finding your joy and purpose.
But yes, finding your passion and
purpose.
Yes,
passion and purpose.
Yes. So what are you passionate about?
Oh, I am passionate about helping people get and stay sober. I am passionate about helping children and teens navigate trauma to help keep them from turning to drugs and alcohol as a coping mechanism. I am passionate about empowering people to change their lives.
Yeah, to just live better and be better.
Yeah. And had you asked me that years ago, I wouldn't have been able to tell you. I knew that I liked certain things. I would have probably told you that I was passionate about photography. I probably would have told you that I was passionate about teaching. But I did a deep dive into what I wanted to be when I quote unquote grew up. And because I spent 12 years in a totally different industry, totally different degree, different field professionally than I am now. And I had no passion. I was not passionate about anything. I didn't have a purpose. I was literally just going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. There was no drive behind what I was doing. And I was miserable So, okay, bye, Mel. You're going to have like little scratches all over your hands.
I have little bites.
Yeah, little bites.
I'm like,
yeah. I don't know why they bite so
love
much.
Bites.
Yeah.
Cats do that, where they softly bite you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Their mama does it to me all the time, and it makes me so mad. I'm like,
it annoys me too, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what Nick says. I'm like, why is she biting me all the time? He's like, because she loves you. I'm like, well, I don't want her to love me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. What you're passionate about is similar to what I'm passionate about. But I am also passionate about many other things.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about your passions don't always necessarily have to be about helping others. It can also be your passion for food, for creating, for painting, for music, for plants. It can be your passion for reading. So we are going to be talking about in this episode about what you're passionate about and how you can find a passion and pursue it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Figuring out your passion and your purpose. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people do what I was doing. They run around through life just going from work to home to work to home and just going through the motions, right?
Right.
And I suspect that it's probably because their life lacks purpose. They don't know what their purpose is for being on this earth. And I firmly believe that we were all put here for a reason.
Right.
Right? Like we all serve a purpose.
We all have a purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like to call it my God-given purpose. You know this, my husband doesn't believe in God. I do. So whenever I'm doing something and he's like, so why are we doing this? And I'm like, because it's part of my God purpose. And he's like, okay.
My purpose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that kind of tells him that it's not necessarily because it's something that I want to do or something that I would normally do, but I feel driven to do it because I feel like it is part of the bigger picture of who I'm supposed to be.
It fulfills you and it brings you joy and you feel peace, and it's not something that you have to get out of your way to do.
Right.
It's something that just comes naturally, and that's a gift. And that's you being born for a purpose.
Yeah.
You living within that purpose.
Yeah. I always like to share because my pastor in Lubbock, we did a season, like a series on purpose, living on purpose with purpose. And Mel has discovered. So if you hear a lot of background noise on this episode, it's the cat and my neighbor mowing their lawn. So just roll with us.
Yes, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Thank you for just having so much support for us, and just continue to watch each video as and you hear us talk all the time. So we just want to thank you for that love and support you show us. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe. So share with the family. Go ahead and
all the things.
Yeah.
But so we did. I forgot where I was going. I totally got sidetracked by the cute cat.
Your Lubbock pastor.
Yes, my Lubbock pastor. We did a series on living on purpose with a purpose. And so in the New Testament somewhere, it talks about the gifts of the Spirit and how we're all given a gift of the Spirit, right? Some people are, they have the gift of like service. They can serve people. Some have the gift of compassion. Some have the gift of, whatever. It's all listed out in the Bible. Everybody has different gifts.
Yeah, they're all God-given gifts.
Yeah, and so we did a test on what our God-given gift was. Ooh, yeah.
I want to know. what are your gifts, Teresa?
My gifts were exhortation. So I'm good at talking people up. I'm good at encouraging people through my speech.
Okay.
And then my other, that was my primary gift. And then my other one, I think, was like hospitality, like serving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was, those were my two gifts. And Pastor Jackie encouraged us to serve in the church based on our gifts.
Oh.
And he told us that like your purpose lives where your passions, your gifts, and your joy all meet.
Wow.
So if you are passionate about something and you are gifted in a way that allows you to serve that passion and it gives you joy, that's when you're living in the purpose of God for your life.
Wow.
So for me, that is, I do a lot of connect groups here. Like I do a lot of small groups. I do a lot of stuff with people, right?
Yeah.
So, and I use...
But they all serve a purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I use this podcast as a way to uplift people with my words and encouragement and trying to lift people up, be that exhorter, that use my exhortation gift, right? And so when I decided to leave my corporate job, I sat down and kind of used Pastor Jackie's model of like, what am I passionate about? Yeah. What are my gifts? And what brings me joy? And finding my purpose within there, and then finding a career that aligned with my purpose.
That is so good. Yeah.
Yeah. And since I've done that, it's been night and day
Life
difference.
changer.
Yeah. My daughter will tell you.
Yeah.
Like,
you enjoy your life. You enjoy yourself. You're doing what you were created to do. And that's very important because there's this book that's by what is his name? I can't remember. But it's called The Purpose Driven Life.
Yes.
I love that book.
Here, I'll look it up while you talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I love that book.
So yeah, and it talks about so wait, let me tell you how I came across this book, okay? I was 15 years old. I was working in this Tex-Mex restaurant as a hostess, and I think there was this lady who had come by for lunch, and she left the book, but I don't remember the book that was given to me. I just remember that it was stored there, but I didn't know that's the book she was talking about until a week later because she left and she came back and she asked about a book, and I had no idea. Then while I was cleaning the counter, I found the book and I was like, "Oh, this is the book," and I don't know how to contact her. I don't know. So, anyways, what they do is when people leave things in the restaurant, they just throw them away, get rid of them, or you can take it home. Yeah. So I decided to take it home because I'm a bookworm. And I started reading it, and as I was like cleaning the shelves, and I was like, oh my God. Like, I was meant to read this book. It is so good. So I think his name is Rick Warren.
Yep.
There you go.
That's what it was.
It just came to me.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was just like, whoa, within the first chapter, everything, I was like, wow, God is speaking to me right now. So I continue to read the book and I still have it. And I should have brought the book. It was so good.
It's a good one.
But it talks about...
I'm surprised I don't have it.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I know. I've read it and I think I did have it at one point. It's an old book. It's older. Yeah.
Yes, and I've given it out to people. And they have it in English and Spanish. Yeah. And they have it, I think, in other different languages. And it's so good, y'all. Y'all need to read it. But it talks about living a life with a purpose. And it talks about how God created you to not just be a wanderer in this earth and just walk without a purpose. And, it talks about how God has given you certain gifts to serve a purpose for his glory.
Yeah.
And when you understand that, you live your life in a different way. And it just puts everything into perspective. And I was just like, wow, that is so amazing. So I love what you were talking about, how now you live a life with a purpose because you know what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And And sometimes those things don't come to you very easily, but you just have to continue to pray about it and continue to pursue those things that make you happy, that bring joy. And then you think about, oh, well, how can I use this to help others? Mm-hmm. Or how can I do this to make this world a better place?
Yeah, because we weren't put here for selfish reasons. We were here to serve for the glory of God, right? Like we are here to save the lost, help the hurting, and love the widowed and the orphaned. Like that's what God always that's what he always points us back to. He's like, love. What does he say to one of the apostles? Love my sheep, or tend my sheep, or something like that. But he's talking about his people. Like you need to take care of my people.
Jesus is a shepherd, and we are his sheep. Mm-hmm. Some of us are the black sheep, some of us are the lost sheep, but we're all sheep, guys.
Hey, I was a black sheep and a lost sheep.
I am the black sheep of my family.
Yeah, but in a good way.
In a good way. That's just, when people say, "Oh, I'm the black sheep of my family," some people
they think you're the bad person.
Yes, and it's not that. No, I think it depends on the person and what their perspective is on what a black sheep is.
Yeah.
Me being the black sheep of my family means that I felt all the pain in my family line. And I was the one that was like, okay, enough. It ends here. I am the generational curse breaker. I am changing this narrative, and God is rewriting this bloodline, and
through you.
Yes, it stops here, because if it doesn't, my children are going to go through that, and their children are going to go through that, and it's just a cycle that never ends, but it stops here.
So what are you passionate about?
I am passionate about helping people. I'm passionate about food, art, many things that I'm just, I guess, really good at, but those are God-given gifts. Like my gifts are the gift of discernment. Like I just know things, and I just see things before they happen.
Yeah, you are.
I think I'm crazy sometimes for that, and I don't say anything. Or sometimes I do say something and then it happens.
Yeah, no, it's intuition.
And
is another word for discernment.
People have called me a witch. Yeah. And I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. I'm a Christian.
And that's usually what happens. And so I pulled up the gifts. It's wisdom, and of course there's different translations. This is just one of them. But wisdom is discernment that you were talking about. Understanding, counsel, fortitude, knowledge, piety, and fear of the Lord. Those are the gifts of the Spirit.
Yeah.
And so mine is encouragement, obviously. That's what
I also have craftsmanship, which means that I like to make things and build things with your hands. And I know that I love creating things and doing things.
You'll have to go follow us on Instagram, first of all. And our personal links to our bios are in the Bella Grace bio, but you'll have to go follow us because today, I got an alert. It was like, Bella Grace mentioned you in their bio. I was like,
I love you.
But you'll have to go follow us on Instagram, because today Rosie sat in here with me for an hour before we started recording, creating a flower wall for my birthday celebration that's going to be this weekend. Yeah. And so, she is great at crafting things with her hands.
I have a lot of patience.
Yeah. We we melted like hundreds of flowers onto a tarp.
Yes. To create a beautiful
flower
big
backdrop.
Yes, it's
really pretty. You'll have to follow us so you can see the pictures.
Like there's certain things I have patience for, and I think it's when I am creating or building something, I have so much patience. And people are like, "How do you have so much patience?" I don't know. I just do, because I guess I'm in my zone. I'm in my element, and I'm like, I just know.
Yeah, because you were made for it.
Yeah, and that's okay if you weren't, because God gifted you with different gifts.
God gives you with the friends who can do it.
Yeah. Exactly. So you see, it's all for a purpose.
Yes. I literally texted her last night and I was like, we can't record because I have company over. I said, but we can record as soon as they're done. But if you come over, you can help me.
And I said, do you need a glue gun?
Yeah. No questions asked. Just, do you need a glue gun?
You need a, I know, that was crazy, right?
Yeah.
How you just,
yeah. She was just like immediately on board. I'm there. I'm going to do it.
I got my glue gun. I have my Sharpie. I'm ready.
She's like, I'm there. Yeah. So yeah, she helped me all morning this morning, and we got it done. So you'll have to follow us so you can see it, because she is definitely gifted there.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I was asking what you're passionate about, because I believe that a lot of our passion is rooted in the things that we go through in life.
Yeah.
And that old saying, like, everything happens for a reason, or it's all in God's plan. And then something bad happens and you're like, how could God, our good God, allow this to happen to me? Right? Like, how is he so good and yet he allows so much pain to happen in this world?
Yeah.
And I know I've had that question. My daughter has had that question.
I've had that question too. And I've had people ask me that, if God is so good, then why did he allow this to happen in my life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes I feel like Job in the Bible, because if you're familiar with the story of Job, Job is a man of God. He believes in God. And the devil is like bored one day and he's like, I want to test one of your people.
Yeah.
And God says, have you seen Job?
He is a faithful follower.
He's a faithful follower and he will not waver. And
the devil's not going to pick on the weak.
Yeah. And so the devil says, well, he only follows you because he has everything that he needs and he wants for nothing. And so God allows the devil to test Job. And so all of Job's kids are killed in one fell swoop. Like all his kids are just knocked down dead. All of his crops, all of his herds, like all of his animals. So basically everything is taken from Job. Everything.
Yeah.
And he still trusts God.
He still continues to walk with God because he knows that God has got him no matter what he goes through, what storms in life, adversity. I mean, he knows that he serves a strong and powerful God. Yeah. And if you are a Christian and you're spiritual and you walk with God, you know that there's God and then there's the devil. And the devil is going to test you and he's going to try to break you. And he knows the flesh is weak and he's going to do everything in his power to try to destroy you. Yeah. And guess what? If you continue to abide with God and continue to pray and worship through those storms, God's got you and there's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes you go through those things for your faith to be tested.
And to be strengthened. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that whenever bad crap happens, so for me, I always think back to the first time I did drugs and like, oh my gosh, if I could go back, would I change it? Would I say no? Would I change all the things that I did? And people always look at me like I'm crazy, but no, I wouldn't change any of it. I would not be passionate about helping kids and teenagers avoid turning to drugs and alcohol as a coping mechanism had I not gone through that.
Yeah.
Had I not lived through physical and sexual abuse at the hands of a high school boyfriend, I would not be passionate about making sure parents know the warning signs.
Yeah.
If I had not spent how many years? 17, 18, 3 years severely addicted to drugs and living in some of the worst places and like living with some of the worst people, I would not be the person that I am today.
Yeah, like everything does happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And there's a purpose in all that pain that you went through. Maybe it wasn't necessarily the way that you picture your life or the way that it should have been.
Yeah.
But God always had a purpose in you going through that because he knew he was going to use that pain for his glory and for a bigger purpose that maybe you didn't have a clue or ever imagined. Yeah. But here you are now, and then the places where God is going to take you because of your story is just the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like God doesn't waste anything.
No, nothing gets wasted. But when you're sitting down, reflecting on your life, like all too often, I have clients who are struggling to find purpose because I feel like when we're in high school and we're getting ready to set out into adulthood.
Yeah.
And we think about what we want to be when we grow up. For some people, your options and your imagination is limited because you are in fight or flight mode 24/7, right? So you can only see the military, fast food restaurant, the family automotive business, like whatever. You can only see as far as your imagination will allow you.
If you ever hear my testimony, my story of what I've been through, you'll know that I was not living a good life.
Right.
So, and because the life that was given was not a good life. I was a child. But like, and I see what you mean by when you're in that, you can't see past that because I had that. When I was 8 or 9 years old going through all these things, I couldn't imagine my future.
Right.
I couldn't see it. And I was just like, because I knew that was not a life. And I was like, I cannot imagine myself as an adult living this life. Like I couldn't. I was just like, well, because I have a wild imagination. So I would try to picture a good life. I would try to picture something better and myself as an adult living a good life, but I couldn't. So that's what it's like sometimes when you're going through a situation and you're stuck because that's all you know. And you're like, when is this going to end? And is this
it? Is this all there is? Yeah.
Yeah. But I want you to know that that's not it.
Yeah.
And what you're going through right now is not the way that you envision your life to be and how it's supposed to be. But I want you to know that things don't last forever and things will change. And God can rewrite your story.
Yeah. Yeah. He sure can.
Yeah.
Look at me.
He's rewritten our story.
Yeah. Over and over and over.
And he's not done with us yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're breathing, there's still time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and all I can tell you is that if God has done amazing things with us in our lives, he can do amazing things with other people and their lives as well. And finding your purpose and your passion is not easy, but you got to dig in. Think about the stuff that you like to do.
Yeah.
That bring you joy, that bring you happiness, that bring you peace, that make you feel fulfilled, like you're living, like you're doing something that matters. That it's not just being waste.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like to do an exercise where you go back to your childhood, go back to when you enjoyed things, right? Like going back to what brings you childlike joy. And so when I said, like, if you would have asked me a few years ago, like what I wanted to be when I grew up, it would have been a teacher or a lawyer. Because when I was a kid and I played pretend, and that's what I pretended to be. But as I have grown, like I don't have,
the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, I have learned that I really don't like kids.
She likes my kids.
Yes, I like my friends' kids. I don't like other people's kids, strangers' kids. But I realized that it wasn't so much that I liked teaching kids. It was that I liked educating. I liked empowering, and I liked teaching people things that could help them.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that I wanted to be a teacher in a classroom. I wanted to be sharing knowledge with people.
Yeah.
And that's what I do on this podcast. And so, but it took me going back to what I used to play pretend, like what I used to do as a kid, what I used to imagine that my life could be, and figuring out what was at the root of that.
Yeah.
And at the root of that is my passion for educating people, for sharing knowledge with people. And so it's important for people to do that self-exploration and like really narrow down into what you want to do. So you probably would have said teaching is your passion.
I used to say whenever I would get asked in school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would say, I want to be an artist. And I think it's because I love to paint and I love to color, but I think that it doesn't end there for me. For me, I guess it meant I love creating things.
Yes.
I do. I love creating things, whether it's hair, makeup, fashion, shoes, bouquet of flowers, organizing, but I'm doing something with my hands. And I love that. Even if it's cooking, whatever it is. Like I love creating things. And I think I that's one of my passions because I don't know how else not to like do anything else with my hands. I even speak with my hands like through your fingers.
But you do. And so I was mentioning that because earlier we were talking and you got that new job, right? You got new job offer.
Yes.
And it is creation. Yes. It is creating. And you were like, I'm not going to be stressed out with the students. I'm not going to have to deal with
I love my students, but if you're a teacher or you know a teacher, you know that being a teacher is not easy.
Yeah.
I love to teach. And I think this is why I'm doing the podcast because I love to educate people and I love to help them. That I feel like that's also my passion. So, but being a teacher comes with a lot of reward, yet a lot of things that teachers don't often talk about, like being overstimulated, being overwhelmed, being tired, not getting enough help. There's just a lot.
Pulled in a million directions.
And we love our teachers. So if you're in a profession and like a teacher, I mean, we do not. Yeah. We need a raise, and America needs to step it up. In the education system. Yeah. So, anyways, but yes, I am taking a break from teaching right now because I am exploring a different
path.
Yes. And I think God has been preparing me for this. And this is something that I'm really excited about because I get to do the other stuff that I like and I enjoy, which is creating things yet for his purpose. Yet I'm going to be planning events, decorating, creating plans, a hands-on kind of thing, working with people because I talk, okay? I can talk. So I'm going to be having fun while I'm working. Yes. And all I can say is that it's not me. Yeah. It is God who has been preparing my steps, ordering my steps. And he's been working all things good for me. Yeah. And and then all this is for his glory and his purpose, because if he could have me take out the trash, clean toilets or whatever. But because he has a special purpose for me and he's gifted me certain things, he's also opening these doors because he is like, okay, this chapter of your life has ended. I have something for you because you already passed that. This is new, and it's something that's up your alley. I've been preparing you for this because this is what I created you for. And I'm not saying I'm going to stay there forever because I can always
change
with God.
Evolve. Yeah.
Yes, with God, all things are possible. And that's the thing about you walking with God is that God doesn't limit you or anything. He always has something better and bigger and brighter. And
we just have to follow him and trust
walk
him.
in obedience. Walk. And it's scary to walk into something that you never been, and you can be uncertain, nervous. Yeah. But you know what? You just gotta walk in. Yeah. And God will take care of the rest. So that's what I'm doing right now. I am going to be doing something fun, and it's all for God's purpose. So and I'm just happy that I get to do stuff that I'm going to be enjoying. Yeah. And I'm going to be helping. Yeah. In the way that God created me for, in a different area of the church. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you said something, and we don't get paid to do this podcast. We do this podcast out of the joy that it brings,
and generosity of our heart and our passion to help people and like viewers. Yeah, like you.
Yes, exactly. So thank you. But so I think oftentimes people confuse purpose, passion, and profession. And they think that the only way to live out their passion and purpose is to have a job where they do those things. And yes, it's great when your passion, your purpose, and your profession all meet. And
Teresa doesn't pay me, guys.
I know.
This is where it's going.
Yes.
She doesn't pay me, but she does take me out for lunch, and I love her for that.
I take her out to dinner.
She does. And that is my love language. Yes. You're feeding me. Yes. We should talk about love languages.
We should. Oh. Yes. We need to do one on love language. Yes. Yeah. But so, like, it doesn't always
I give her flowers and I give her things.
She brings me plants.
Is that your love language?
Is gifts. Yeah. Yeah. That's how I receive love, is like gifts. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I like to
So it is your love language. Okay.
Yeah. When I give love, like my love language to give is acts of service. So like I like to do things for people, like buy your dinner.
Yeah. Oh. And that's good because that's my love language. People doing things for me, giving me things.
Yeah. So your acts of service for receiving.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm also like that. I also like to give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. My brother his love language is gift giving, and mine's acts of service. I thrive in gift giving if I know you. Like if I know you really well. So my sister-in-law always says I give the best gifts because my gifts are very meaningful. Yeah. Like this year for Christmas, I gave my brother, it's been 30 years since this past December was 30 years since our dad passed away. And so I told you this story about how my grandmother kept all of our stuff away from us after my dad died. And there was a picture of my dad that my dad had made before he died. It was just a portrait of him, and it was painted. And I remember before he died, I was like, Dad, why do you have this in the closet? And he was like, oh, because it's going to be yours when you get married and move out. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, then he died, and they kept that picture of my dad, and they wouldn't give it to me.
Can we break in and go get it?
I have it now. So yes, I have it now because for a while there, my grandmother like dangled it in front of me like it was a prize. Like she would be like, okay, when you're married, you can have this picture. Okay, then my fiance died. So then she was like, when you graduate college, you can have it. Well, I got my associate's degree, and she's like, when you get your bachelor's degree, you can have it. So when I got my bachelor's degree, I got the invitation. I took it to her. I knocked on the door, and I said, here's your invitation. Give me my picture. So So I finally got a picture back.
Broken in and just taken it.
Yeah, well, the thing was that, like, they moved the picture around. Like, it would be at my aunt's house, and then it would be at my grandma's house, and then it would be back at my stepmom's house. Like, they were, like, playing hot potato with me with this damn picture. Yeah.
But all those things just motivated you, I guess, to get where you are and to continue to do your passion, because you see how God used that? God used that to be like, Teresa, I want you to do all this because it's all going to work in my purpose. And I'm using your grandma or your to torture you through this. And one day you're going to have a degree and you're going to be here. And it's all for my purpose. You just don't know it yet because I'm working things out for your good. Because God has plans for you to not harm you, but to prosper.
Yeah.
That's a Bible verse.
So it is.
I don't know which verse it is.
Me either. I'm horrible.
Google it. Yeah. Like, I just know Bible verses, and sometimes I don't know.
I don't know where they're at. I
just know the verse.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Or sometimes I know it and I just what?
Yeah, I know the gist of them. But so I got that picture. I had it up in my house for a long time. And after my dad died, the Catholic church that we went to had a big plaque made for my dad. And when our priest retired, the new priest took it down and it was in a storage room. And so my uncle found it and he gave it to me. And my walls in this house are really weird. We can't find studs very easily. Like even with the new stud finder, like we can't find studs. So I couldn't hang that plaque up in here because I tried and it like broke the drywall. Anyway, so it's been in my closet. So this year for Christmas, I gave my brother, I had a copy of that picture painted on a piece of wood. And I gave him that and the plaque for Christmas. Wow. And then like last year, 2 years ago, my sister-in-law's dad passed away. And so for Christmas, I gave her a huge blanket of his picture on it. And he had written, before he passed away, he had written her a sweet little note on a loteria card. Yeah. And she had posted it. And so I got that little message and I had it put on the blanket with his picture. And that was her Christmas gift the year that he passed away. Yeah. And so my sister-in-law always says that I give the best gifts. I don't.
Because they're meaningful.
Exactly.
And you take the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is like my passion for helping people through the hard times. And so my love language is not gifts. It's acts of, like, I give love by doing acts of service. But my passion is helping people through the hard parts of life.
Yeah, I think I'm like that too, because I like to be there for people because I also know what it's like to need somebody and not have that.
Yeah. Same. And I think a lot of times it shines through the gifts that I give people.
Yeah.
Like with my sister. Yeah. So anyway, we totally got sidetracked. I don't know where we were before we started talking about love languages.
Yes, we're talking about your finding your passion and pursuing it.
Yes, and how your passion, your purpose, and your profession don't always line up.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, that is totally okay. So
sometimes God just created you to have a good life.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's still a purpose.
Right.
You're God doesn't always give you these trials and you don't always go through these, because there's people that I know that never went through anything. They had the best childhood ever and they have the sweetest parents ever. And, that doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have a purpose, because there's purpose in that.
Yeah.
And you can still find a passion in helping people or creating things or just being amazing. It's still a I don't know if anyone's amazing and perfect, but
God
creates things for a reason and a purpose.
I know, like, I was thinking of somebody at our church who fits exactly what you were talking about. And she shared at a Bible study one time that her struggle, she was like, you ladies are all sharing all the things that you've gone through. She's like, and I had a great family. I was a virgin until I got married. I never drank. I never did drugs. Like, I went to church. I went to church camp. Like, I did all the things that I was supposed to. And for a long time, my sin was thinking that I was better than other Christians because I didn't struggle. She's like, and for a long time, like, I would listen to people's testimonies and be like, God, why aren't you blessing me? I'm perfect. I haven't done anything wrong. I haven't been to jail. I haven't been on drugs. I didn't have a teen pregnancy. Like, and yet you're blessing them, but I've done nothing but serve you for years and years. My entire life, all I've done is serve you. And yet here I am, still single, unmarried, no kids, like, can't start my own business, can't seem to get my foot through the door, like, nothing is going in my favor. And she's like, and then I felt convicted, and I really felt the Holy Spirit say, that's your sin, is that thinking that you're perfect and that you don't
deserve
need God.
All these things because you didn't have that trauma, you didn't have that awful upbringing. So you think you have God's favor or hand over you more than others. So you should be treated or be blessed more than those.
Yeah.
But the thing is that God doesn't waste anything.
Right.
Like I'm so glad she didn't have a traumatic childhood and that she doesn't have to heal from that. Yet she still needs God in the same way we need him. Although we need more healing and we've done the work and we went through all these situations and she didn't. There's still a reason and a purpose why God didn't allow her to have that because he blessed her with not having that. And she didn't realize that was a blessing because it is a blessing to grow in a family where you're loved, where you're nurtured, where you're protected, where you're not exposed to a lot of things. Yet that can also be, I heard that there's also trauma in you not experiencing certain things because then you cannot find empathy and compassion for others because you weren't exposed to certain things. So that can also be traumatic. And so now you trying to find get the perfect husband, have the kids, or not being able to have kids, that's also saying something like, yes, I allowed you to have this, but you're also this, like you can't have this. And that's not necessarily bad. God just does everything with a purpose. And he's teaching us things, healing us, showing us, ordering our steps, and everything is for a purpose.
Yeah.
And maybe at the time you're like, well, I'm been so good. I don't drink. I'm just so well put together. Like I have the best job. Like oh my God, I just married the love of my life. And everything's going well. God needs to bless me. Like that is a blessing.
Yeah.
That is a blessing. And this goes back to you counting your blessings. And instead of you focusing on what you don't have.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's also that also gives you an opportunity to stop and check, well, okay, that's a blessing. But what am I passionate about? What was I created for? Because I know that God has blessed me in all these things, but how can I use my blessings to help others? What is my passion? Like, what do I really enjoy? Because I can enjoy cooking, or I can enjoy planning events or something, but how can I use this? Because this is what I enjoy and this is what I'm really good. But how can I work with this to help others.
Yeah. Yeah. Using all of that to look outward.
Because
if it's all about me all the time, you're not going to be fulfilled. Like you're going to be alone in a hospital bed with no one around when it's time for you to die.
Yeah.
Because you haven't impacted anybody's life. Like you need to have friendships, you need to have relationships, you need to have connections. And by shining your light outward, you allow other people to benefit from the blessings and the gifts that you have. And trying to find, like you said, somewhere where what you enjoy meets helping others.
Yeah. And I think, and this just reminds me of how God used a lot of people in the Bible for his purpose. They weren't perfect individuals. They didn't have it all figured out. A lot of them, just never really got right, but God still used them for his purpose. Like if you think, like, for example, Noah.
Noah's my favorite.
Yeah, because he, it's funny because the other day, Muriel and I were reading the Bible and I came across the part where it talked about how he was a drunk.
Yeah.
And he would get naked when he was drunk. And that was like a bad thing, a bad sin.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, wow, the world's crazy now. Anyway, so.
Yeah.
But what I know
lots of people get naked when they get drunk.
Where I'm going with this is like, okay, there is a purpose in that. And you think if Noah wasn't passionate about love and who God created Noah to be, if he wouldn't have listened, generations descended from his children.
Yeah.
Because he walked in obedience.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, I'm going to build this ark because I don't even know what a boat is. I don't know what an ark is. I don't know anything, but God gave me all the plans and he's been preparing me for this because they'd never even seen rain. They lived in a desert.
Yeah.
People made fun of him. And then he had to get all these animals in there, make sure that there was food and water and everything. I mean, can you imagine that? Because that's just like crazy.
Yeah. I heard commentary about the story of Noah but it had never dawned on me like how bizarre a boat would have been to those people.
Yeah.
Because they were in a desert. There was no water around. There was no body of water. They never seen rain.
What?
Yeah.
Where?
Because it was a drought, right? Like there'd been a drought at that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, like imagine being that guy of like, God has put a passion, a purpose, an idea in your heart, and you look like an absolute lunatic doing it, pursuing it.
Yeah. Walking in obedience will make you look crazy.
Yeah.
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 You'll get judged. You'll get rejected. Look like you'll be shamed.
Yeah.
Slammed. Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, I quit my corporate job to do this podcast, my coaching business, my photography business, and people looked at me like I was insane. My husband probably still thinks I'm insane sometimes, but it was part of my God purpose. And I knew it brought me peace, taking it back to the beginning when we said it brings you peace.
Yeah.
It brings you joy. It aligns with what you want to do and who God says you are and your gifts.
What feels good to you, what you just it's a passion that emerges from the inside. It's not like, oh, I just want to do this because I think it's cool and I seen it
on TikTok
on Teresa. No, it's like
it comes from within.
A genuine thing that you're like, oh, I really love this. Like it's like a passion is passion. It's not just like, I like this. No, it's like,
I can't quit thinking about it.
Oh, like it's a fire within. It's something inside of you that you're like, oh, I can do more and I want to do more. Or like, this is what I need to do. Mm-hmm. It's not just like, I have a passion for
pancakes.
Yeah, no. I really enjoy pancakes. Like,
it goes beyond an enjoyment. No, it is a burning desire.
Yeah.
And no matter what you do, you can't stop thinking about it.
You can't escape it because that's what is in store. Mm-hmm. That was your gift. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll leave you with this. Finding your passion and your purpose starts with really untangling what it is that sets your heart on fire.
Mm-hmm.
What brings you peace in your soul?
Mm-hmm.
What brings you joy? What allows you to use your God-given gifts and allows you to serve others?
Yeah. How can you use that for the benefit of not just yourself, but others? And how can you impact the world? What story are you going to leave behind? What good are you going to leave for either your friends, your family, or this world? Because you're not just here to live a life and just be clueless and be like, I'm just going to party, I'm just going to have fun.
Yeah.
And then you're dead and that's it. No.
You're here for a purpose.
Yeah.
So what is the story that your friends and your family are going to tell about the impact that you've had on this world when you're no longer with us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So take some time to think about what you're passionate about. Like, what makes you happy? Powerful. What brings you peace? And how you can use that, not just for your own benefit, but how you can impact the world and help those around you. And you don't necessarily have to start big. You can take baby steps towards that. And just wait and see and watch how God's going to use all that good. And he's going to continue to order your steps and just open doors that you never even dreamed of. So, yeah, with that said, let us help you find your passion or come in to message us. Let us know like what you're passionate about. And if you like to share your story, go ahead and please just let us know. We love to hear from you and let us know what stuff you want us to talk about next. That would be fun to just say, hey, can you talk about this? And we had several people mention or tell us stuff that they want us to talk about. And that's been very fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That's been a few of my favorites that were inspired by listeners. But yeah, there is a new text button if you watch on, I believe it's on Spotify, our podcast website. I think it's on Apple, iTunes, whatever that thing is called. But yeah, there should be a link where you can direct text Rosie and I from the podcast page. So let us know what you'd like to hear about, or go follow us on Instagram and DM us that way.
Like and subscribe.
Yes. And by the way, share. Don't you just love Rosie's hair if you're watching online? It is gorgeous.
This is my Shakira look.
It is so pretty. You have to watch the YouTube video now so that you can see Rosie's hair. It's gorgeous. All right, guys.
I love you, my gorgeous friend. Look at her. She doesn't need to tan. She's naturally tan.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you. We love you guys. Till next time.
Bye.